I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I want to talk about handling or managing popularity. Popularity is being known by the populace, being known by many people. Number two, there is notoriety, is being notorious. Sometimes, and most times, is being known for something that is not recommendable or something that has value or standard. So you can be notorious, but notoriety, you can be popular because of notoriety. So you can be famous. To be famous is to be known for something that generates acclaim, recognition, something that can be emulated. You are famous for this. So fame. Now, one of the things I found out about popularity, I have left obscurity, total obscurity, to a level of popularity. When I came to Ughelli 24 years back, very few people knew me. In fact, I used to go to public places like the post office to whether I could see any of my schoolmates from Government College Ughelli. I go to the post office at Warri, post office at Ughelli. Very few people really knew me because most of those I grew up with had gone outside Delta states and outside Nigeria. I was known to a little extent in Aba, quite in the Christian circles. I was known a little bit. But you see, as time went on, I became more visible, more known in Christian circles because I preached in big conventions like the Assemblies of God men. I went around Nigeria with them, the Church of God Mission Men, Christian Pentecostal Mission, and several other denominations, Foursquare Gospel Church, and several other denominations. Now, then social media came, and I did a post on the way the oligarchy fight, and Tunde Ednut shared it, went viral. I did some other posts during NSAS directed to Buhari and several others. Now, then I do a radio program. I do two radio programs, one on Quest FM 93.1 on Wednesday, 6:30 a.m. and a potential audience of 6 million people listen to it. Then they repeat it on Tuesday by 6:30 a.m. too at Mega FM 89.1. So if you tune to the World Radio, if you have a World Radio, you can download the application and listen. And I became popular in the town and around and in different places. But one thing I know about popularity is like a drug. It's like a hard drug. It can enter your head and destroy you. It can make you start behaving like a mountain goat. Mountain goats can be at very high heights. They'll be walking at the edge of the cliff. And any mistake, some of them can just slip down and crash to death. So I've seen popularity ruin people. I've seen popularity also promote people. I've seen notoriety destroy people. So what did I do? Number one, detach your functional self from your natural self. There are two people here. There is the person that is Dr. Apoki. that is on YouTube, on Facebook, on radio, on the pulpit preaching. There is the real natural me. Our values are the same. It is the values of the natural me that the one on the pulpit is phonating, is preaching out. But the natural me is a very private person. It's a very simple person. Is a reclusive person. So what I did is to separate these two persons. When you, Dr. Poki, I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki, is different from the real me. If you see me outside, it's difficult to recognize me. It's difficult to know that I'm the Dr. Apoki. Some people will say, I see you somewhere. I've been seeing you somewhere. Yeah, social media. Are you doctor? Because when you see me outside, I don't transfer that popularity or whatever people are appreciating in me. I know it is grace. I know it is a divine enablement. It is not an achievement that I labored for in the real sense. I have read, I have studied, I do research, I meditate, I put in energy, but I try to separate these two people, because I know it is God that has brought me here. If I start taking this one as a right, I will mess up. So you must separate the two. You must separate your status from your state. So, then number 2 is that you must learn to know the limits. To know the limits. People will be hailing you. They will be pushing you. Oh, Dr. Apoki says the truth. Dr. Apoki does this. Dr. Apoki is fearless. Dr. Apoki is... I always know my limits. I used to be on TV, the TV station here. I was talking before the elections and talking, but it got to a point after the elections, I discovered that Nigerians are not serious-minded people. They are not people worth dying for. I discovered that they can be bought with anything. I discovered that they can be hailing you, they can be calling your name, they can be pushing you. When the chips are down, money will make them betray you, religion will make them betray you, party politics will make them betray you, tribe will make them betray you. Nigerians are not loyal to you as a person. The only group of people I know who have remained consistently loyal to their leader and person in this country are the obedients. They just love the charismatic nature, the disciplined nature, the visionary nature of Peter Obi, and they could be very, very fierce if you attempt to touch Peter Obi's reputation or his person. So, but for most people, if you are a musician, if you are a content creator, if you are a pastor, if you are whatever, if the chips are down, the same people hailing you are ready to attack you, are ready to tear you down, particularly if you are a content creator. The next thing, you are a musician. If you there are people admiring you, but at the same time they are wishing you evil. They are admiring you, but they think that you are not real. Why should it be you? Why shouldn't there be a flaw and all that and all that? And they are so happy if you make a mistake. So I'm always very careful. I don't allow the acclaim and the praise of men get into my head. Somebody asked me a question. You are always talking. What have you said about Okwama? I was among the first few people from Uroboland that voiced something concerning Okwama. And when the king was when he took himself to the police station, and he was subsequently arrested. I was among the first persons that made a post. But you see, it is now a judicial issue. It is now a case. The Okwama is now a military investigative place. I'm not a lawyer. I must know my limit. You must know your limit. You must know your limit when you are talking about another person or about a situation. You must know your limit. You can't just get excited out of the desire for popularity and say somebody's child is most likely another person's child. Any wahala you see, you take them. You can't just make accusations on social media, innuendos in social media because you want popularity. No. The next thing is that you must be sensitive. You must be sensitive. When life and death is involved, you should be very careful. When children are involved, you should be very careful. When it involves tribal issues and national security, you should be very careful. You should be very careful. And you should verify your facts. Don't just... Then the next thing is that nobody is above being dealt with by any government. If the government wants to deal with you, look at Donald Trump. Look at the crisis he's been having in America. Look at the recent cases recent case with Bobrisky. The truth of the matter, you will think you are popular, you will think you are connected. When the chips are down, nobody is ready to take a risk for your sake. And you will be surprised how quickly people can forget about you in Nigeria and move on. DJ Switch. That girl risked her life to do a live transmission during the shooting at the toll gate during EndSARS. She was able to leave this country, but no person talks about DJ Switch any longer. If she had died, they will have forgotten about her. I'm not discouraging you from being a social critic or whatever. But the truth of the matter is that when the chips are down, you will bail the cat alone. So be very careful. Be very, very careful. And you will see the same people who hailed you might be the same people who will criticize you. You own too much self. You talk too much. You do this too much. You are this, you are that. Well, look at him. Is he the only person? He thinks he knows too much. This Dr. Poke, he thinks he knows too much. So I am always very careful. Since after the elections, I have never granted any television interview. I have never gone to that station to do any interview. They've called me on several sensitive national issues. I have refused to talk. I do the ones I want to do on social media within the boundaries of the law, and I make sure I am very, very careful. Am I a coward? Yes. But you see, it is cowards that point to the graveside of heroes, the compound of a hero overgrown with trees. See, that man used to be a hero. And I found out that in Nigeria, when the chips are down, those who did not really partake in the cause of the change, the what brought about the change are the major beneficiaries. Those who sweated, those who bled, they are not part of those who eventually benefit from the action. It's like that with revolutions in most places. So be very careful. I'm not Che Guevara. I'm not Nelson Mandela. I'm not Desmond Tutu. I am not Mama Gaddafi. I have learned that moderation is uppermost. But if you are famous for excellence, famous for being good, like Sister Teresa Mary, famous for being good to humanity, please continue. But the truth of the matter, Be very, very careful. I will tell you a story. Excuse me. A man who was a circus man, these people who demonstrate, had been touring the world, and then he now came to his community, and he was now demonstrating the things he was doing in overseas, how people were healing him. Then he now tied a rope from one palm tree to the other, and he rode bicycle on top of the rope, rode a bicycle on the rope to the other palm tree, and they hailed him. He rode the bicycle back on the rope. They hailed him. And then he said, now I want to do the peak of my performances. I will carry somebody on my shoulder and ride the bicycle on the rope with him. Nobody agreed to volunteer to be on the shoulders of the man while he was riding the bicycle on that rope. They are ready to hail you. They are ready to shout, but none of them is ready to take a risk by sitting on your shoulder to ride that bicycle. They are very willing for you to fall down and crash alone. That is the way it is. Now, I will do one quick video this night before I sleep. There's a clock behind me. What is the time? It is nearly 11:30 at night. I just want to do one quick video, and then I'll see you tomorrow morning. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Send a message to +234 7052136763 for 3 reasons. Number 1, I have real estate for sale, properties. Number 2, I have an online seminar coming up on the 1st of May, and it will teach you about how to prepare. I never knew that at 65 you will become more productive. I'm enjoying 65. There are things I did earlier that are making me enjoy this status. So, how to prepare for retirement, how to remain relevant in retirement, how to raise a family that I don't need to depend on my children. I don't need to depend them. I have successful children, and I'm so happy I don't depend on them. I'm a happy person. And so we'll talk about all that and the reality of aging. So send a message to +234 7052136763, and you can join my WhatsApp mentorship group. God bless you.